Okay, so hypotheses, theories, deduction, lessons. What can you tell me more? Tell us a bit more about these ideas.
It's all about interpretation. It's an incredible thing. We have been arguing over literal things. People have been killing each other and wars over issues which we now render to interpretation, and modern governments have understood that difference of opinion should be discussed, and there's a right to discuss it and to disagree and to do so within certain forums and with certain rules to it. So interpretation has become an incredible field in itself. Although it's one of many, it is still so important. I recall at the London Science Festival, they demonstrated how perceptions will change. One of the remarkable scientists was showing how the perception of a dress could be seen as blue or as gold, and it depended on context. And it was also shown very clearly that people will be convinced that something is one colour in one context and another colour in another context, and it just depends on the context. And the brain will interprets and creates shortcuts via interpretation of what something should mean, and therefore it can easily be tricked. So we now recognise what was passed on as a form of religious idea, which was frowned on. In some societies, interpretation is frowned on. Fundamentalism, the literal meaning of the word, or of a sentence, or of an idea, is important. And some people celebrated the variation of words, and in so many different ways. There's variation through reasoning, or through persuasion, or through legal, back and throw, or through acting. You can act something but not mean it. You can be paid to act and not mean it. Or mimicking. It's a skill. It's an incredible skill. And these things are forms of interpretation. There are many forms of interpretation. So what I was saying is that these things are so incredibly detailed. They're almost like a mycelium. They're like membrane. They're like electronic impulses going throughout they're so detailed we could never have traced them in the past. But my thought was that with AI, these religious instruments, these cultural instruments, legal instruments, the things that have affected, they can probably be traced and for what purpose? For what purpose? That I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. But so I just want to talk about some other instruments. So sympathy. A person can be so full of their own moment that they miss other people, and the idea of having sympathy and to teach sympathy and to teach the other ideas of compassion. What an incredible idea! The Christian Revolution, which developed around sacrifice of a person for other people. It has its prefluences in many different cultures of sacrificial cultures, but these are amazing ideas which have their instruments of sorts. So apology. Isn't an apology an incredible thing. That a form of nuance, intention, to retract, to go through a set of rituals. It could be relatively simple and it can be simulated. And then someone who is angry, who's furious, who wants to get your fleece, and they're neutralized. It's a chemical. When someone is angry, it's chemical, and a word or a type of a nuanced set of coordinates of submission, of contrition, of genuineness, of words, of onomatopoeic and poetic significance, of genuineness. It's very, very quick. It can all happen within 20 seconds. But it can diffuse. It can create almost like a chemical effect. Such is the power of these instruments. And we'll talk about more in other sessions.